Okay, so for me, both ways. Yes, I did get a scholarship, but there are different kinds of scholarships, fully funded, partial funding. So for me, it was not 100% funded. So, but they provided other means through which I could fund the remaining part of my fees of my tuition. For instance, I worked as a graduate assistant, for the school. So the school was paying me to teach, and do some other things, with lecturers. So from that money coming in, you can put the remaining percentage, and it wasn't so much, it wasn't unbearable for me. Then the other aspect of, you traveling to the Western world, you want to go, study, aside from the tuition, is what is called living expenses. So for me, the school did not fund that. That came from my personal funding from my parents and loved ones. That's all that was worth investing in. And yeah, and then when I got in here as a student, you can work 20 hours in a week. So I was also able to secure an employment after I'd, fulfilled my graduate assistantship obligations and all. And I think I could work 40 hours in school because as a graduate assistant, you need time, to execute your duties. And I could work 20 hours outside school. That was the kind of study permit I was given due to the nature of, my obligation, to my school, and then having to work outside. But it wasn't easy, I must tell you.
It wasn't easy, but it was worth it.
It was worth it. Yeah, like that was it.
I'm quite impressed because all my days in the university, I had my eyes on scholarship as well. And I searched and searched. And when I see people who get scholarships, I'm like, how did you get it? How? Because they're not. No, let me say this. There are scholarships, right? You can get maybe scholarships for public health, the regular Commonwealth Share Scholarship, the Javelins. But when you're talking about a scholarship in nursing, it's one of those rare areas where you really see scholarship opportunities open. So I must commend your diligence to search and find that. But do you feel like you want to say something to help somebody out there who may be thinking towards the line of scholarship and how to search and find scholarship, especially related to us?
Yes. To be honest, you're very correct. But there's something that would help a nursing student who is listening to me, and one is excellence. One, I know there's this saying in Nigeria that your grade does not matter. I don't subscribe to that. I do not. Yes, I remember when I went to look at Mark Zuckerberg, like look at they dropped out. No, please, because I tell there are two categories of people in Nigeria. Those whose parents or uncles are politicians, that can get big money, and nobody will, look for them. And those who have to use their intellect. Their intellect is the money that God has given to them. So if you don't fall into these two categories, then do something extra. That's where the non-governmental organizations, volunteering comes in, and all those other extra things to give you that advantage, when you are out there, because the university shields you. You don't really know what is going on until you get out, and then you begin to, see the reality. So for me, and that nursing student that is listening to me, if you are in university now, please give your best. Give your best. If you can have that first class or second class offer, I finished with the first class, but I know it wasn't easy. From the University of Ibadan to have a first class, I was the only one in my faculty, in my department, and in the faculty we're just 3. It's not easy. But I remember I used to think of that, I knew I was going to leave after I school. So I used to, my father is a politician, my mother is a politician, I'm the first child. How can I? And I will, I said, I'm going to have a first class. When others are saying, me, I don't need it to, first class, I know they help someone. Who first class help? And in my heart, I told myself, I didn't say it out, I said it in my heart, I will have it and I'll work. So if you can make the best use of your time in university, please do. Please, if I need to go on my knees, because it has opened the door for many people. Because this Western nation, they're looking for bright minds. I'm not saying that. I used to tell people that all of us are bright. When people come and say, what do you do extra? I say, we all have the same brain. It's how we use it that is different. It's how you have nurtured it that makes the difference. I know some people are born with developmental defect. But if you are not born with it, make the best use of it. Don't be lazy, be diligent. It takes a lot of hard work. So let that academics part sort it out and see what God will do. And then after that, begin to look for opportunities. I remember when I was going for NYC, I asked someone a question. That person is also doing really well right now. He's going all over the world because I saw that he was an excellent person. I told him, why did that? Because there's also another narrative. People that do well, some of them don't end up succeeding. Why? That was the next question. After I would, finishing, I reached out to the person. We had a meeting, and he began to tell me some people are book smart, but they are not street smart. They are not life smart. So you are book smart. The reality is different. So you knowing what life demands of you and knowing what to give to it per time also differentiates you. So for me, during service, I was looking for opportunities. While people were buying woman here, my Alawi money was for opportunities. I was writing exams, I was writing high help. I was, paying for schools. I was writing to schools. Different schools. I think I got that inspiration from another person who is in the US. I had to reach out. I don't know, but now we are good friends. That please, he said he wrote over, I can't remember, is it 45 schools or close to 100? I can't remember. Or probably 100, 45 now called him because the way he told himself no, but he needed something extra and Nigeria could not operate.
Wow.
So look for opportunities. You need to write to schools. Don't wait for someone to come and do it for you. That's something I've noticed with we Nigerians. How can you help me to apply to school? How can I do this with ease? No. So opportunities also, and then leave the rest to maker. Then network properly. Networking will help you. If you need to go for conferences, go for conferences. If you need to be on LinkedIn, reach out to people. Watch out for opportunities. Any university then that comes in contact with me, I'm always very particular about the academics, irrespective. I talked about searching out for opportunities. Don't be lazy, be diligent. Be life smart, not only book smart. It's very important.
Really, thank you for those very profound and very thought-provoking things you shared. I'm really intrigued again by how you said you had a first class in nursing school, and that's in university, because again, like you said, a lot of people talk down on the need to have excellent results. Thankfully, there are people changing the narratives, and I'm happy that you have been able to stand yourself out all through the years, and kudos to you. So let's talk now into your days in Canada as a student. You mentioned that you work as a graduate assistant, which is part of what I was going to say is very commendable. How did you gain that confidence? I think we should start from there. How did you gain the confidence to teach these white people, right? And number two, what significant difference could you say existed between the system in Canada versus the system in Nigeria?
So, like I talked about life, aside from the four walls of the university or an education institution, there's something called like that innate attribute, character building, things that education, going to school, being educated is not only going to school, right? Things that just going to school will not teach you, personal development, all those kind of things. So for me, I think those are the things that helped me, and I got that opportunity to build myself from volunteering, being given the platform and being mentored while executing my duties in those various platforms. So that kind of helped me when I got here. In fact, that's what I wanted to talk about. I said I forgot. When it comes to getting scholarship, because Westerners are only interested in your book smart only. It's an advantage. It's a key that will open the door. But they're also interested in, aside from school, what else did you do to your community? In your community, all those things. So those things, we just think we do them. No, they build that innate attribute that is required to also walk through this life that we have been put in by God. So for me, I think that was it. During volunteering, you have the opportunity to speak to people, people that are even older than you, but because you have that thing that they are looking for, that knowledge, that experience, they will listen, So for me, that really helped me during my graduate assistantship. I would engage with students. I didn't really engage much with students though, but the ones that I was able to, the opportunity I had, because we also had COVID. So I could only, do some things virtual, on virtual platforms with my lecturer. So yeah, I feel that was what helped me. Character, personal development, when you know where you're going, there's some key things you should be putting in place, to make you ready for that bigger picture that you have in mind. You need to take courses on, leadership, you do that. If you need to, take courses on, even confidence building. If there's any course, go and take it. Volunteer opportunities, public speaking, yeah, all those kind of things. Yes. So those kind of things. Now back to, the difference between studying in the Western world and in, developing nation like my country, Nigeria. I'm so proud of my country. I love Nigeria a lot, to be honest. I love my country. But we still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
We still have a long way to go. We need to nurture dreams like that. People that have good intentions for the nation. We are smart people. Nigerians are one of the we are smart because we just need that tip, that icing on the cake to make us like that beautiful packet to come out. So, and that is what these Westerners are saying, to be honest. That's why they're harvesting the smart ones. That's why they want someone with the first class. They want someone that are excellent. Because they have that icing on the cake that our nation has refused, to offer to us. So the difference is vast. Yes, there's pros and there's cons. Being here also has its own demerit, and being in Nigeria has its own advantages. But when you weigh both, we have a long way to go. So for instance, you have the opportunity to have access. So when I was during my master's program, I had access to materials, study materials. I had access to research. In fact, if I need a research article right now, I just need to go on my university library. If they don't have it, I need to just send a request. They will find it anywhere in Canada. Because the global library is so they know who to reach out to. They reach out to schools, and you would have it. But in university in Nigeria, you can't go to the library. Even if you go, maybe there's no light to even process. Or internet is an issue. Or some lecturers are still doing that. You don't have to. I know some of them say you should still be writing with biro and paper in this 21st century. No way.
Your project work to take.
Yes, no. I didn't have to bind my final thesis. No, and it's already published on the university. It's there in the library already. Anyone who needs it can access it. It's been published by them. That's part of the criteria. I must feel that before I can be allowed to graduate. There's a database for it. So all those things, it's not that we can't do that in Nigeria, but like I said, that icing on the cake.
Yeah,
it's hard to get. So
I think
so I think it was from the leaders. So it's I want to study. I don't have to think of lights. I've seen someone in Nigeria studying in front of ATM machine. The ATM rather, because ATM is ATM.
Just
machine is
the lights.
Yeah, just because of the light. I never had to worry. And some people are night readers. Some people are, so someone that is a night reader now, no light, the person, so all those kind of, I didn't have those issues there. Yes, I could speak with my lecturers. Like I said, I had the privilege of people doing that back home in Nigeria. I had good relationship with my lecturers, but some people did not have that story. They've been battered, brutalized, mental health gone. But yes, I'm not saying those things don't happen here. They do actually, but there are policies and protocols and laws, that you can, if you know those things, you can use it to challenge whoever.
Absolutely.
Do you get? But and then you will win. But in my country, I dare not take my lecturer to panel.
You don't question them.
You cannot graduate.
You try to report to a senior officer, and then that lecturer will grow.
Exactly. So I'm not saying those things are not here. They have. We have them here, but you can challenge it. the systems. Once you have the right information, and you are not physical. Yeah, they're all bothered about respect. You talk to
Mutual
people
respect.
respectfully. Yes, even if the person is wrong, you still treat the person with respect.
Mm.
But you will still bring out the laws that, see, based on this, you are wrong. I've had, that experience too. And I thank God for the kind of lecturers that, I had that were able to support me when I needed to challenge a few things. By reason of not being born and bred here. But the moment I realized, I have right, I was made to know, and then we're able to, use those things that have been put in place, to walk through, that situation. But Nigeria, and then maybe specialties, so many things. I don't even know. We will not finish this discussion. Let me just, for the sake of my country, for Nigeria, the community is an advantage for us. We have a good community back home with support. So, for instance, you are mentally down because of school, you can see someone coming to assist you, a friend, a loved one, But here, that's the disadvantage here. The community is not so strong. Yeah, everybody's very dependent. So that's like one of the, yeah.
Well, what you said, where you can easily challenge someone and say, oh, this is not what is written in the policy. There's a policy for everything. Everything has a guiding, a standard protocol to follow.
Yeah.
Not just somebody stopping authority and saying, I'm the alpha and the omega here. Your project work is not going to go anywhere. Just
it's not going to go.
That cannot happen. And I think that's what anybody listening to this podcast should take home. See, we need to learn to live by standards. Like, this is how it is, this is how it should be, not just what I feel or what someone else feel, and especially within our school system. Many of us will be privileged in the later times because, we're talking about us as younger people experiencing these things. Soon and very soon, we are going to be giving out these things. I mean, we are going to be in those positions of authority.
Exactly. Yeah.
How are we going to do any better? And I'm happy that we have experienced the first world countries where somehow there's some bit of serenity to the system, and I hope that we can bring it back into our own system and at least make it work better. All right.
Let me just balance this. So I don't also want us to over glorify the Western nation, because I know that's one thing I also appreciate my lecturers here. They balance my perspective because they used to tell me don't over glorify this nation like that I'm talking about, because we're like, in Nigeria we don't have this. They listen and they're like, okay, girl, calm down. And then they helped me to see that every nation, they have their own flaws. It's just that, like we talked about, policies and protocols, standards. Probably that's why they have been able to keep some things at bay. So, like you said, we are here to get exposed. We are global citizens, so that when it's time to give back to our nation at the right time, we have substance, to do. Then things will be better for upcoming nursing generations, and we won't make the mistakes that our elders, have made, or they even make it correctly. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Let's begin to round up the conversation. Even though it's been very interesting, and I feel like I should go deeper on some questions, but there is no time. But let's talk about some of what you mentioned as you started introducing yourself earlier. You talked about your volunteering roles. I know you to be a major part of FYNI, which is this very platform where we are on. That's the Focusing on Young Nurses initiative, where we seek to provide mentorship for young nurses to help them achieve their fullest potential in nursing. I also know that you volunteer with some other organizations. How have you been able to manage all of this? I know very well that you did most of this while you are at the heat of your master's degree program, and I know you've got your personal life to sort out as well. Can you just talk us through how you were able to manage all the demands emotionally, physically, and all of that, and just to encourage somebody who is also throwing this path of volunteering?
So for me, thank you for that question. Aside from the God factor, being my strength, one is vision. When you know where you're going and you you have a mental picture where you're headed, you'll be willing to pay the price.
Mm.
In fact, you begin to figure out the price that you have to pay. And
Mm.
for me, one of the prices, or the price, whichever one, that I know I have to pay is giving myself community development, community service, pouring out myself into, people coming after me. It's not been easy, I must confess, but for me, one thing that helped me, aside from, God strengthening me, helping me to understand where I'm headed, is, passion.
Mm.
Having passion, being passionate, for what God has placed in your end. Being passionate about your community, being passionate about even personal growth and development, being passionate about you wanting to be an impact, to make an impact rather, you wanted to leave a legacy.
Mm.
I know I've not gotten to that stage according to Eric Erickson, that integrity versus despair. I've not gotten there, but this is the journey.
Yeah.
Because by the time you now get there, you will have to look back and reflect. How much have I given? So I think that's one of the things that helped me. And two, time management. It's really hard to juggle a lot of things, especially when you don't have your community with you. Community in terms of father, mother, siblings, friends, they can help you do one or two things. Yes, so you have to, learn that ability to manage your time. Probably you have your own calendar, you have your own itinerary, you prioritize things, you juggle things around. And also character. Character is a thing that is important, so for instance, personal development, character building, when I realized that by doing all these things, I'm also building character, which is important to where I'm going. It keeps me on my feet. In fact, it's character too. Doing those things at that time. Discipline, to try to meet up with commitment. There are times I know I've not done well and I have to tell myself the truth. That's still part of the character building. Be truthful with yourself, to yourself, so for me, passion, time management, the fact that I desire to leave a legacy behind when I'm done here on earth. Those are the things that keep me going. And I said, the first thing I even said was vision. God giving you a mental picture of where you're headed, so you know that I have to pay this price. And like I mentioned, first class is not easy, but I knew I was going to be here. And one of the keys God was going to use, one of the key, the key thing rather, or one of the criteria or requirement, or just put in the word, was going to be my academics. So I had to give it even when it was hard to study. I was struggling a lot of things on campus. But I will remember doing. So
that's very inspiring. That's very inspiring. You have inspired me. Oh my God. You have inspired me. I need to get back on my feet and dust everything I've learned. One thing I know is that we as humans, we've got capacity to do many things. Until we put ourselves into it, we never know how much we can do, how much we can become. Right? And you said something I just want to reiterate. When you have a vision of where you're going to, then it must prepare you to begin to plan the cost as well. So, we always think of the vision of the great future, and then it wells up passion inside of you. But passion is not enough. It must also give you a sense of commitment and sacrifice. So you are thinking in yourself, if I really think this is where I'm going to, I'm also trying to note what will it cost me to get there? What will it cost me to get there? That's part of what envisioning should entail. And I'm taking that away for myself, Thank you very much. It's been a very, very, very enriching conversation. And I'm just going to ask you to give your final words, final thoughts. We've spoken a lot from your start to the current place you're in. I'm going to probably bring you up later. We'll talk about your future plans, and maybe you want to really let's just leave that for another podcast. Let's close this. And let me have
Mm.
you just share your final thoughts with everyone who is listening and watching today.
Mm. So I remember when I was giving my valedictorian speech at the University of Ibadan College of Medicine. I told everyone that was listening to me, I cited Joshua 1, verse 8.
Mm.
That is the strong and courageous, if I'm correct. It's been a
Yeah.
long time, yeah.
Yeah.
Be strong and courageous. See, this life, you will face. It's not a cost. If you want to go far, there will be some things you have to paddle, and you must have that capacity and resilience to withstand whatever life throws at you if you really want to go far. Never give up, because at the end of the day, you're the one that will be celebrated. So if you give up too early, then you allow another person to take the victory, or that victory will not even come into reality. Yes. So be strong, be courageous, especially the way the world is right now. Things are hard everywhere, not only in Nigeria, but it takes people that have a dogged mind. Their face is set on the vision, and that is enough motivation to keep going, because they can see far. They can see beyond what the circumstances of life or the circumstance of life is making them to see right now. There's a greater reality behind that situation, but you need to overcome that situation so that you can launch and be able to get a hold of that reality. So be strong, be courageous. I'm not saying be pompous, be full of pride. No. I'm just saying have a healthy mindset that you're going to be strong and be courageous, irrespective of all. You're a global citizen. The world is waiting for you. Yes, I'll say that. I know people say it a lot, but no, you are unique. There's something that you have that God has put in you uniquely that you have to deliver, to this generation. And for nursing, I love nursing so much. And probably that's why I'm, putting in all the, for nursing, be strong. As a nurse, I'm courageous. That's what Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've been greatly inspired hearing your story, and I know somebody who is listening there is also getting a dose of inspiration. I see there is no limit to where we can get to as nurses. And one thing I have noticed interviewing people on this channel is there are lots of opportunities that you only need to search out for, you need to look out for. And as you look out for it, you find that wow, so there's a gold right beneath my feet. I just need to dig it out. And I'm just encouraging somebody just along the lines of what our guests have encouraged us with, to be strong and courageous. I think that's the central theme of this conversation today.
Courage.
Be strong.
Courage.
Go for
that
it.
Opportunity, go for it.
Go for
Don't say this for the people that go for it. That personal development, go for it.
Yeah, go for it. That
idea, go for it. That master, go for it.
That's what
that job, go for it.
Yeah.
And it will only get better.
Somebody will come back even with testimonies right on this channel. Well, we thank you very much for joining us, and we want to very much sincerely thank Professor Priska and Professor Adebayo Adechun who have given us this platform to share our story, and we are happy to share this. And we're so glad, and we're saying to somebody there to also know that the world is waiting for you. All right. Yeah. So be strong, be courageous, go for it. Thank you once again, Ms. Fadodun, Oluwadamilola, and it's been a great time having you here.
Same here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.